On the island of Newfoundland, upon the southwest coast, lies the little town of Burgeo, to whom I'll sing this toast. There are so many highlands that lie just off her shore, and when the cold north wind blows, you can hear the billows roar. The people from the village make their living from the sea. They like their independence. It shows that they are free. Some fish in their small boats in the wind, the rain and sleet, while others make their living on the offshore trawler fleet. They've known their share of tragedies down through the years, and when the memories overcome, they show their grief with tears. For they have lost some loved ones to the furies of the seas, for heartaches and heartbreaks are locked in memories. This village has got beauty carved on its rugged shore. 7 miles of pure white sand. Who could ask for more? The mountains and the valleys where the rivers run so fast, and the salmon rise to the sportsman's fly as he makes another cast. Tell the people of this village love their native home, for anyone who goes away most surely will return. Just like that lifelong mystery, the answer you won't know. What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul? What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul?
Good evening and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight in our stories we have Figure Skating Club, Recycling Blitz, Town Council Report. Please stay tuned for these stories after this. Try Your Luck and Play TV Bingo on Wednesday, sponsored by the Minor Hockey League. Cards are 6 for $5 and can be bought from any member of Minor Hockey or in most stores around town. The Burgeo Figure Skating Club held its first session on Thursday. There were 3 groups. I took my camera to the arena to see how it was going. recycling blitz was held at Burgeo Academy on Friday. A group of 7 teams got together and see who could gather the most recyclables. The recyclables were carried in the gym and counted by the respect team and adult volunteers. Once all the recyclables were counted and bagged, they were carried out to the BBS room. The grand total for the recyclables was approximately 9,338 pieces of recyclables. The red team had won by bringing in a total of 1,753 items. Their names was then drawn from a bag, and they could pick a prize. 3 lots of certificates were then passed out to the respect team, tutors for tuition, and student council. The grade 5 class had then done a dance to entertain the school. The Guiding Movement are selling balloons again this year for Valentine's. The deadline to order these balloons is February 6. Orders can be given to Linda Pink by calling 886-2802 or Ruth Tucker at 886-2786. Those wanting them for secret pals can call Paulette at 886-1230. Balloons will be delivered on Valentine's Day. Mayor George Reed came by the studio with his town council report.
Wednesday, January the 21st, council had a meeting, and I'll give you a summary, basically what took place in council. I'll give you, of course it's familiar now, that I gotta give you a summary of the water treatment plant as it's coming along. The stage 1, it's moving along on schedule. They have some of the equipment and has already arrived in St. John's, so they tell me. So, of course, that's not, they won't be coming to Burgeo until April to put it installed into the building, but it is arriving in St. John's, so that thing is moving. Stage 2, the water tank. The tender has not been called for the water tank. And I think I'm going to have to try to explain to you why that is the case. What they're talking about here, there are 3 types of tanks, 3 types of water tanks that they're talking about wanting to tender for. One tank is a concrete tank. Now they consider that one to be the most expensive, the concrete tank. The other tank is a steel tank that's glass line. Now that tank is bolted together and it's put together in panels. That's the one that the engineer is recommending. That's the one that's been installed in the last 10 years in any job that this engineer has been responsible for. The other tank is a wilted steel tank, and that tank is welded together on site, and then it's painted on the inside. That's the tank that the regional manager wants to go to tender also. Our engineer refuses to recommend that tank to go to tender, to be put on the tender list. He says it's not suitable, and two prime reasons why it's not suitable. One is that we are putting basically pure water into that, and since we're putting good water in there, he doesn't want any chance of it being contaminated with a painted steel tank. And number two, that steel tanks, painted steel tanks, are costly to keep repaired. And I'll give you an example of that. In the early 1990s, Gander put in a welded steel tank. That tank holds 1 million gallons. Now the tank that we want is 500,000 gallons, so basically it's half the size. This year, Gander has decided to do their tank. They put aside 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks to do the job. They have to sandblast the tank, and then they have to paint it. They are estimating that's going to cost about $490,000. So you can see where the engineer is coming from here. He doesn't want to recommend a tank for our system that's going to be costly to repair or maintain as the future goes on. The council here is caught in the middle. We basically, we just know what the engineer tells us. We would like to go with the glass line tank. So therefore, what has happened now is that the manager of the regional office has sent his recommendations to the deputy minister, and the deputy minister is looking into it to decide what he's going to recommend or what he's going to approve, I guess. We're caught right here. We have our MHA, Kelvin Parsons, is working on it. You've had a number of telephone exchanges with the deputy minister. About 2 weeks ago, that we've been trying to force this issue, trying to get this tank to go to tender. Right at the moment that I'm talking to you, that we have not heard anything other than the deputy minister has still not made up his mind. It's crucial that we get this tank to tender and get it on order. It takes 3 months for that tank to be made. And we cannot test phase 1, according to the engineer now, we cannot test phase 1 unless we have that tank installed. And they're coming in April to start phase 1. They figure they have that done within 3 months. So we have to get this tank tendered. We had a meeting with Sam Horgan on January the 8th concerning transportation in this area. We had a very good meeting, and he took our recommendations back in order to give a report to government. The tender for the arena with the boats that closed, I think, was on January the 16th or something like that, but they've extended it until January the 22nd. So the tender for the arena for that ice system that they're going to put into the arena will close on January the 22nd. The imaging camera that I told you about that the fire department is wanted to buy, well, that camera has been ordered. It was ordered on January the 7th. It will arrive around the end of March, and in the meantime they're going to send us in a demo that we can use until that time. Now the fire department tells us that their van that they had, it's been condemned. The garage condemned it. It can't be repaired any longer. They have now found another second-hand van, and I'm told that the Burnett's are going to buy that van and they're going to donate it to the fire department. The van will cost about $2,500. So it is at no cost to the town. It's going to be purchased by the Burnett's and donated to the fire department. So we would like to thank them very much for that generous donation. I think last time I mentioned about parking cars on the side of the road for snow clearing. I've been told by the drivers that you're doing very well. You're complying very well to that rule. He's having very little trouble going around clearing. So it's very nice that you're trying to do the best. It's there are some places in town which is very, very hard to park, very, very hard to get off the road. So thank you for doing that, and then continue to do that throughout the winter, please. Garbage cans. Some people have their garbage cans probably a little bit too close to the road for snow clearing. I've been told that they've had a number of incidents where they've struck garbage cans. So would you try to keep your garbage cans probably off from the edge of the road, 5, 6, 7 feet, something like that, away from the edge of the road. Don't put them right close to the edge of the pavement, because of course the plows is going to probably hook them. So keep them away from the road as much as possible. Well, there's a limit too. So, but keep them, say, within 10 feet of the road. And the last thing I've got to talk about is the skidoos. It's the time of the year when skidoos are on the go, and every year, of course, you got to talk about this, about the rules. People tend to forget them throughout the year, I guess. So the rules that I'm going to read to you now was adopted by council in January 1991. So the rule has been in effect for the last 18 years. So they shouldn't be, they should be not unknown to you. So I'm going to read a couple of these rules out, what applies to you. Because here's what's going to happen. Once I read these rules out to you, and hopefully you understand them, then the RCMP is going to start enforcing them. So pay strict attention to what I'm saying here, because you're going to end up, the fines can be very steep. No person shall drive or permit to be driven a vehicle within the municipal east of the ball field, and any vehicle that is used in contravention of this section within the municipality, the vehicle may be seized and impounded. But vehicle operators may operate their vehicle within the restricted area to gain direct access to a CLO area from their place of residence. So the intent of that regulation there is that you can take your skidoo anywhere in Burgeo and get by the shortest route to CLO. That's what you have to do. In other words, if you live up in the Messers or you live up in the Muddy O, you should not be down by the school. You have to go towards the ball field. Now, the reason for that regulation is from the rationale that I've read on it, was very simple. People just didn't use the vehicle to get down on the road, get down on a pond and just go around, but they used it in extreme hours of the night all the time, and it was disturbing the residents. So they brought in these two rules to make sure everybody doesn't have a truck, everybody doesn't have a trailer. But if you got a snowmobile, you're still allowed to leave your home, take it by the shortest route that's, of course, accessible to get to Cielo area. So if you're living up in the area, Muddy O area, up in the Messers area, the Muddy O area, there's absolutely no reason for you to be down on Shake Pond or anywhere down in this area. It's very hard getting out of town, especially up by the bank. So anyone that's down east of the bank trying to get up that area, be very, very careful at the bank area, because there's not much room there. You have to either go down the road there and cross the parking lot. So be very, very careful in that area. There's a lot of traffic in that area, so you have to be very, very careful. Just continue now to the next regulation. Every person who contravenes or fails to comply with any provision of these regulations is guilty of offense and liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $1,000 or in default of payment to a period of imprisonment not exceeding 90 days or both fine and imprisonment. Now here's to the owners. Where any person is found guilty of an offense under these regulations in respect of the use of a vehicle, the owner of the vehicle is subject to the same penalty unless he establishes that the vehicle was being used at the time of the offense without consent. So very, very important. If you got kids that are using your vehicle with your consent, then you're liable just as much as they are. Now, I know they're tough, fairly tough regulations for using snowmobiles around town, but for the convenience of all the residents, I think these regulations are still fair. You can still use your vehicle to get out of town, to get up on the Cielo, Aaron's Arm, and Granny's Brook area, or wherever you're going to go to enjoy yourself. So make sure you govern yourself accordingly here, because the RCMP have told me that they will, after you hear this broadcast on Sunday, they will start enforcing these regulations. Thank you very much, and good night.
This concludes our program for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.